This is going to be a tutorial video through PropStream on how I personally will use PropStream to comp properties and come up with some recent cash sales just to help me better make an offer and also figure out where I will be when I go to relist a property. So first things first, we're sitting here at the main search page for PropStream. On your flyout, that would be the search tab right here. So when you click that, it brings you right into here. What I'm going to quickly show you is the property appraiser site for the property that we're going to use to show how to comp. And that would be this property right here, which is 2818 11th Ave West, Bradenton, Florida. This is a property that we actually have pending right now. We are selling this. We purchased the property all cash. We fixed it up and we threw it right back out on the market. And I will show you how I comp the property, and I'll show you just the similarities of some of this information and how we were pretty accurate in determining the value, and this all came from properly comping it or vetting it initially. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come over here and enter the exact property address. So 2818 11th Ave West, and there it is, Bradenton, Florida. So I will click on that. It's going to bring us right down to our property, which is the one in gray. Everything that's in blue here are our neighbors. Another neat thing is you could actually click on MLS and all of a sudden it's now showing us all MLS properties. So let's come back over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just zoom in a little bit and notice how these roads turn to blue. Well, what that means is we could actually click right here and it's going to bring us into a street view, which is really neat little feature. And this is our property right here. If you want to click on this show location on map, I really like this. It helps you know exactly that you're looking at the right property. So if you look at that and you use your arrow, you can drag on the actual map. You can also use your arrow keys. So right now I'm just using my arrow keys. You can hold down on them to just go across the street, different neighborhoods. The reason I'm showing you this is if you don't know an area, maybe you're doing some virtual wholesaling or some out-of-town investing, you need to know and learn neighborhoods and streets. That's one of the hardest things with comping and vetting properties. It's getting a gut feeling for a property. It's knowing neighborhoods and knowing the difference in one street over from one street over in a different direction. These are all really important. There's the basic information you're going to get from pulling up reports and looking at the analytics and looking at data like we're about to do. But it's a whole another talent and skill to just know a neighborhood because you've been there, you've had boots on the ground, you've done deals in that area, and that's going to also help you comp and vet properties. And that's something I can't teach you through PropStream. That would be teaching you in town here in person and you riding around and learning from me and learning the ropes. But that's not what this is about. This is about comping properties. So I am going to close out this street view. And we are back here at this page. So what we're going to do here is you can see it showing us there's 227 MLS properties. And that is actually going to be for around this area. So if I drop down our property characteristics, let's see, MLS status, pre-foreclosure, ownership info, liens, valuation, mortgage info. These are all different filters you can apply that are going to apply to the property we're looking at here. But what we're going to do is we're going to click on the actual property. We're going to click into details, and here is our property record card. So if we bring up our property appraiser site again, just to show you some comparisons, you can see here that we have the parcel ID. This is actually going to match up with our land location, that APN number. You can see the ownership is showing right here. This is all matching up. So you can see this is all exact information. You can also see we have this cash sale tab because when we purchased this, we actually purchased it on a cash sale. We actually purchased this property for $135,000. Of course, you're not going to see that because there was an assignment fee. we bought this property direct from a wholesaler. So the wholesaler made a $10,000 assignment, but when the property gets recorded on the actual tax deed, it's going to show the sales price and not the assigned price, because you're only going to be paying your doc stamps, etc., on the actual sale amount, not an assignment fee, since that would be an excess fee. So anyways, I will go back to this property details, but you get a lot of information here. It gives you the bedroom, bathroom count. You're also getting some of the more pertinent information up here in that top left corner. You're seeing a plus 85 because this property is on the MLS at this moment. It is pending, but there's all these pictures, because these are pictures that I actually took myself. So I know we're going to have pictures. You're always going to get pictures showing, most likely, for MLS listings. So we're going to close that out. So we're still under the property details. This is where you can get all the information, the prior sale, the new contact, and who that contact person is with their contact information. Then we have all these other tabs. And now we're going to go to our comparables and nearby listings, because we want to come up with what the value of this property is. Our system here is telling us it's worth, they think, $219,000. And that estimated value, you can't go off of that. You can use it as a rule of thumb. Typically, your estimated value will usually be lower than what it is. But I like to look right down here at comparables. So this is just taking 30 comparable properties, and it's giving it a value of $296 with 80 days on market. So that's interesting. You also have monthly rent amounts that are showing up. You get the public record with that previous sale. So you really don't have to focus on this bottom section here. You can get a lot of what you need quickly from this section. But the main tab we're going to focus on again is this comparables and nearby listings. And what you're going to see here, I'm going to hit reset on this. I'm going to also hit reset on our public record comps, because I'd come in just to mess around with this already, but I'm resetting it. So this is what you would see when you go and you pull this up. This was already all pre-filled in, so our public record comps that it's automatically pulling up are a year range. You can see they took the square footage, which we have 1844 square feet, and they went just slightly over 300. They're closer to 400 square feet in one direction and another 400 in the upper direction. Nothing else besides the distance has been set here as a filter. So when you look at all these records here, these would be all public record comps. These can include MLS properties, but these are also going to include off-market transactions. And if you look at these colors next to the numbers, you can match those up with the legend right down here to see which of those were cash sales and such. What's important to us when we're trying to comp a property, not trying, when we are comping a property, is MLS comps. That's what appraisers, that's what most people will use as the standard rule of thumb for coming up with the value. There's also a few other things that are very common. Usually that's distance. Usually you start out a half mile out, then bump it up to a mile just to open up the results if you don't have enough. You always want to compare it to like type properties. So this is a single family home. So this is the first thing I'm going to check is single family. I don't want to look at anything besides single family. I'm going to leave the distance at 1 mile for this moment. I always like to bring the results down, and you'll see here it's saying we have 150 results. So I want you to pay attention to these two lines as we start to filter and make changes, because this is very robust. It's changing the second we make a change here. So out of all these comps, it's telling us it's thinking 192,000. So let's narrow this down. We want our date range to only be back 6 months. So if we go back, let's say October 22nd, we go into November, December, January. So we probably need to go back. What are we in? We're in. It's March 22nd today, and it's showing 2019 there. But if we want to go back 6 months, we're probably going to want to go back one more month. Go to September. So we got our October, November, December, January, February, and March, because we're middle of March. So there's about our 180 days there. If you want to get exact, you can. Bedrooms. We're going to do the exact match of 3, 2. That's exactly what we have here. I'm not going to focus on year built right now, but I am going to narrow down my square footage. And you can see we've already dropped down to 33 properties, and our sales price has gone up to $259,000. I am going to put our square footage. I like to do ranges right around 250. The max I'll do is a plus minus of 300 square feet, but I'm usually within a 200 to 300 square foot difference, meaning we're at 1844. I'm going to put this right at about 1600, which would be 250 under. And then I'm going to go, let's just call this, let's go 2000 and let's go 2100. So that would put us about 250 over on the square footage. Distance, I'm going to leave that at a mile. And you can see we're at 12 comps right this second. If we did change that to a half mile, now all of a sudden we have 1 comp. So you can see this is why you can make these changes and get it to work in your favor. Of course, you don't want to usually go past a lot of these numbers unless you absolutely have to. And when you do have to go outside these parameters, the 2 things I usually will like to adjust are distance and date range. Before I'll adjust distance, I will go further back. I'll go as far back as a year, especially if you have a unique type property, just to try and find that exact property, the best comp. It's all about finding a property that looks similar to the condition of the property you're trying to sell at that exact moment. I am trying to sell a retail, completely fixed up property. So what you see over here is we have our 12 MLS comps. I'm going to uncheck all of them, and I'm going to go through these because I want to come up with my best, 3 to 5 comps. And usually you're looking for your best 3. So what I'm going to do here is I know this area. This is an area I work. I know that Manatee Ave, as soon as you cross over Manatee Ave on that north side, you get into a different level of property. They're nicer properties. They tend to sell slightly higher, especially the more north you go, the more valuable they are. So properties number 4 and 7, most likely I would be disregarding. You can already see that that's a $379,000 property, and number 7 is $300,000. But I'll still look at them, especially if I'm lower on results, but I'm not at this moment. So I would start with number 1. It's the closest one to me. And if you drag your slider over, you get more details on these properties, but we already know we set the criteria to 3.2. But it's going to help us look at square footage, lot size. You can see things like, does the property have a pool, and then the distance. So by default, it's putting these in order of distance, which is nice. Next thing is, I'm going to start checking the ones that I want to add as my comps. But to do that, I need to click into the photos, and I need to just quickly click through and see, is this a comparable property? I mean, I can already see that it has a 2-car garage, and we do not. So there's a difference there. I can tell that it looks like they either painted these cabinets or they were left there. They have carpet in the bedroom. No, I'm sorry. Tile in there. Just clicking through. They got the cedar plank right there and what might be a laundry room. So, I mean, I would call this somewhat similar. I mean, they got a nice yard, nice vinyl fence, and 2-car garage. So, to me, this is a comp. I will click on that. Number 2. Number 2 is right over here on the other side of 26, which I know properties lose a little bit of value the second you start heading west. Again, if you notice, the things I'm saying all have to do with me knowing an area. If you didn't know an area right now, you wouldn't be able to look at this as precisely. So this house right here, it has a 1-car garage. Looks like it's got an older roof from some of that staining. Can't say it's shot or anything like that, but it's got the newer kitchen. It looks like it's got a complete renovation inside. Very nice. Very nice rehab. So this is not a block house though. You can see it's got wood frame siding. It's all frame underneath most likely. So we got a frame house. It's less square footage, but it has a 1-car garage. So that's another pretty decent comp. Number 3 here is over here. It is a little bit more west. I'm sorry, I said east earlier about crossing over this way. I did mean east. So when you come over west, west values will start to go up. Here's another one. This one sold for $275. It does look like it's got a little detached 2-car garage. Ooh, I like that setup. But let's see the inside of this house. Alright, so this has not been updated. Don't have to click that far into this to see that. So we got wallpaper. Only difference is, let's see what the square footage on that house was. 2,000. So we actually got more square footage, and we have a garage, but it's not updated, but it still went for $275. Number 4 here, that's the one I told you. It's a whole different area. Let's just click on it anyway. It was $379, and look at that. So that's interesting. And this is why pictures are nice. So this, we were told that this property did not have a pool, yet there is a pool at this property. So that could be an issue where it's pulling that data wrong from the MLS provider. And it's something I would probably make note to PropStream, actually, just to let them know about that. But regardless, that's not going to be a comp from the location and that it's got a pool. Let's see, number 5. Let's just try and find one more here. So this property, it sold for $225 in 45 days. $225 seems low, but I get it now. It is another property that needs some updating. It looks like it's livable, but it would definitely need some updating. So to me, it looks like somebody got a good price on that house. Still not one I'd want to include, though. Number 6, 18th Ave West. So this one, older roof, not as nice of a lot. It looks like it's not a full 2-car garage. I mean, it might be. It's kind of weird. It looks a little cramped. And a livable house. It hasn't been fully updated, but it does have looks like a newer kitchen. It's got some updates, but it's lacking a few updates that this one could have. But I am going to still include that one. So as you notice, what we've got now is 4 properties. They've come to a sale price of $271 as the average at $144 a square foot, and they're averaging 41 days on market. So let me show you guys something now. This is the property appraiser site, and right here is my MLS listing for this property. So here's the property address. You can see it's pending now. We listed it March 5th, and we listed it for $269. Seems pretty accurate, huh? And I'm doing this after the fact. I did not use PropStream initially to comp this property. I used my MLS. Since then, I am using PropStream often, so I like to compare them. And when I went and compared it, it was almost exactly what we thought it would be. So this is how I'm comping properties for MLS properties through PropStream. Something else you can do, one other thing I'll show you is, say you were looking to maybe sell this house or come up with a value for this house not fixed up. So the question is, how would you do that? Well, to do that, you can go through here and you could click on these pictures, look for similar properties like we found that weren't fixed up, look at those sale prices and make your adjustments to the price based on that. I like to look at public record comps, though, when I'm coming up for a cash offer price, because I want to look at what other people have purchased all cash for, and those don't need to be on the MLS. I mean, I will look at all properties that changed hands with cash. So if I click on public record comps and I come over here to sales situation, I can do cash buyer. I'm going to bump this up to 1 mile for my distance. I'll leave that square footage how it automatically filled itself in. And I'm going to look back for the past year. But I am going to make sure that my bedroom and bathroom count is somewhat accurate. And now we'll have all these results. It looks like we have 14. I could sort them however I want. I could do it by sale amount. I could do it by square footage. Because you can, I like to do sale amount just because Obviously, when I see prices like this 1 million, 1.5, I know these are properties that belong in a different area. But if we want to look here, you can see how quickly we start to drop to that 200,000 and lower mark. So I would want to look at some of these houses here. And remember, I told you we ended up paying 135 for ours. Obviously, when you look just at this, you can tell that was a pretty decent price. If we want to sort these by square footage, you can see, you can do a little comparison to see what somebody paid for theirs versus the square footage. But either way, it's the same thing where you would want to uncheck this, flip through some of these that you can. You could start checking them, and then that way you could come up with, okay, well, maybe this is where the offer needs to be around. I selected 4 cash deals. The average price per square foot they're selling at's around 76. So, you know, if I went and took this 76 and we multiply it times what our property's square footage is, looks like, you know, 140 should be where you come in with a cash offer. But anyways, there's different ways to do this. Obviously, that comes down to your preferred method, but I love the fact that you can come in here and look at cash sales direct through the property appraisers records to pull those up, and you don't have to specifically be looking at MLS cash sales, for instance. But this is just the way I like to comp properties, and this is just one way with one property. If you guys have any tips, feel free to leave those below in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys are doing, if anything different on some of this, or if you've experienced comping a property in PropStream, how that's worked out for you, and anything good or bad that you've noticed while using it. The big thing with me is I've noticed that the seeing properties that have a pool can be very inaccurate, but I will tell you this, being a realtor also, there's many agents that don't even select that option correctly when they go to list their property. So even on the MLS, when you go and comp a property, you truly have to look at the pictures and click around, because it's very easy to notice that all of a sudden that this one house had a pool and the other didn't, and you're not going to really notice that until you click around on these pictures. But this is definitely something that you can train other people to do for you to save yourself some time. Once you get the hang of this, though, you can comp properties on average usually in about 10 minutes. That's probably what I average to comp a property, unless it's something that's a little more difficult. But at the end of the day, this is the ultimate way to comp a property if you do not have MLS access. Get yourself PropStream, check out the trial, give it a run, and see how it works for your market, because every market will be a little bit different with the results. But I know they've got about 98-99% MLS coverage in the US from what I've been told, direct through them. So that's pretty awesome. Obviously, things are going to get missed here and there, but at the end of the day, it's been a great tool for me. And I hope you guys get some use out of this and you got something knowledgeable out of this information. Thanks for watching.